I'd like to call the meeting to order. And ask our recording secretary to take the roll call.
Preet Boparai, Allison Bowen present, Daniela Egoroff present, Gavin Healy present, Charles Love present, Maud Marin present, Sonal Patel here, Jessica Savage here, Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg here, Sabina Serenice is not here. She is excused. Leonard Silverman is here. Craig Slutskin is here. We have a quorum.
Thank you, and thank you for those of you who have stayed for our regularly scheduled May 2024 calendar meeting. My name is Leonard Silverman. I'm the president of Community Education Council District 2, and I'm going to just go through our norms and expectations. As you saw at the Chancellor's Town Hall, which was held just before this meeting, we did have some people who were making a lot of noise and demonstrating. If you could please, we have a smaller group here, obviously, right now, but if council members are speaking, if you could please just be respectful. We're not going to recognize anybody who is in the audience that's going to be disrespectful. There is a sign-up sheet. If you do wish to speak at either of our public speaking sessions, please feel free to sign up on the sign-in sheet. You can speak during one or both of the sign-up during public speaking sessions. If you're not signed on one of those sessions, we're not going to recognize you. So again, Victor, where's the sheet? Okay, it's back there. So just make sure you've signed up. We're going to be following Robert's Rules of Order, and please wait, and this goes for council members as well, please wait until you're recognized by the chair before you speak, and wait until you're recognized. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the presentation of resolutions. Is there anyone who would like to present resolution number 252 entitled Resolution Calling for a District 2 Math Path Pilot Program for 2024 to 2025?
Hi there. Thank you. The resolution is fairly self-explanatory. One thing that I would just emphasize is that that the desire for accelerated math programs in elementary school and middle school is really well illustrated by the fact that so many parents are paying a tremendous amount of money to get accelerated education outside of schools. This year, I enrolled my second grader in something called the Russian School of Math. And you'd be surprised at how many public school parents are paying a tremendous amount of money to get their very young kids better math education than that's what's offered in their school. And I love my kids' second grade teachers. They're absolutely wonderful and they're working really hard. But if you don't make an effort to differentiate between the kids who are ready to move ahead and the kids who are still working on mastery of what's going on in the classroom at that moment, you're going to have these tremendous gaps that parents reasonably seek to address outside of school. I'll also say, because I have high schoolers, some kids go out of our District 2 8th grade and go into pre-calculus in 9th grade. And some kids have 2 years of math before they get to pre-calculus. And that differential is 100% made up by kids who are accessing math outside of school. That's not equitable. And I've heard about equity for years and years and years in this school district. And true equity would be helping students reach their potential without having to pay for it outside of school, and to be able to help students achieve their highest abilities in their public school classroom. And I'll also point out that we've had, in only a few days, a tremendous outpouring of letters of support for this resolution. And I have heard, by the way, not just from parents, but from high school teachers who've made an effort to reach out to me to say that they support this program, and I appreciate that outreach from the teachers, middle school and high school teachers who have reached out and said that they think it's a good idea. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to discuss it. Otherwise, let's move on.
Thank you, Maude. The next item on our agenda is a program presentation. Kelly, I don't think we have any presentations tonight, right? Thank God. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the first public speaker session. And this is just in-person participants. So again, I've made the announcement a couple of times, but we have a sign-in sheet. This is the last call for the first public speaking session. We have we have approximately 10 people signed up. So we're going to do, because 11. Okay. We can't stay here as long as we would normally stay here. So we're going to try to limit the remarks to 1 minute and 30 seconds. And we'll give you a prompt. Craig will give you a prompt when we start to run up against time. I don't think we have a timer set up tonight. So just please be respectful. So is there anyone who's the first speaker?
First speaker, and if you can go over there, they'll give you a microphone. Walter Masterson. I thought there was a second one. Oh, there was.
So we don't have a second microphone. Walter, this is going to seem a little strange, but oh, we do. Okay. Yeah, no, it's right there. No, but I wanted to, no, we have to have control tonight. Walter, no, Walter, no, Walter, I'm going to hold the microphone. I'm going to hold the microphone tonight. Sorry. So I'm going to actually microphone. Unfortunately, we have to do this because we've had situations. So
Okay. All
it's
right.
going to be like an interview style.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, this, yeah.
We're asking folks to stand.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
You can tell I've never been on television before.
All right. Thank you. So, oh, you're holding it. You're holding it. Oh, great.
Okay, come on.
Okay.
Do you want us facing this way, that way?
Okay. I just, thank you for allowing me to speak. There's been a lot of, you want to hear the other side and all of these things. So, I just wanted to say, education is not what it used to be, public education. When I was growing up, my math teacher, would take his favorite students on camping trips with him, his favorite male students. Sometimes I was such a good student that it was just me on that camping trip, okay? But, because of gender studies, woke ideology, that same teacher is not allowed within 500 feet of a school. They confiscated his van and all of his guns, okay? So, I want to keep my daughter safe from, gender ideology, okay? We worked hard to get into this school. And every time I come to this school and, complain about it and raise my concerns, these woke teachers tell me the same thing, that I can't see my daughter until I'm finished paying off my child support. Or, that's the girls' locker room. You can't go in there. All right? So I just want to, end by saying, I'd heard before you said that there were 3 members of this board that they took
If you
their
could start
children out and
concluding
put
your
them in
comments.
private school. I think that's great. There's 3 members here that are active members of Moms for Liberty that are actively campaigning. Yep, there you go. Actively campaigning to
If you
shut
could end
down
your remarks,
public
please.
education.
In 1:40.
I think that's fantastic. If any of you don't know about Moms for Liberty, it's one of the greatest sex cults in this entire country.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your time.
The next speaker is Ms. Daniels.
Hi, Len. Thank you. And thank you for changing the policy tonight to, hold the microphone. I appreciate all of it. I just want to say thank you to everyone in the audience who turned out earlier. Thank you to everyone who is still here. And just to say to the council that we're going to keep showing up, everyone. And with that, I want to take the rest of my minute and 30 and just think about trans kids.
Thank you.
Thank you for making space for trans kids.
Thank you.
The next speaker is, and I apologize because I can't read this, it's Lalania Garcia. I'm sorry? Okay. I try my best. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lalania. I teach kindergarten. I've been teaching early childhood education in New York City since 2000. I really enjoy it. My kids are wonderful. I know that you people up here who have kids, you also think they're wonderful, and they probably are. Little kids are really great. One thing I love about 5-year-olds is the things that they say. So I just wanted to bring this conversation about children really back to children. And I want to tell you about some things that my kindergartner said that they think school is for recently. So students can learn letters, so kids can make new friends, for kids to learn about different things they have not learned before, a place where kids are safe, where kids have fun, where they learn math, where teachers can teach and kids can learn. And when I asked them what are some things that kids should learn at school, they said writing, Spanish, like how to be nice, so no one gets hurt. They should learn from each other. They should learn to be good friends. And then one kid said, if you are a kid or a teenager, you will not know how to be kind if you don't go to school. And then you will not be kind for a long time. Another kid said, when you are a grown up, if you don't go to school, you will not know what to do. And then you'll be sitting down and not doing nothing. And then another kid said, if grown-ups didn't go to school when they were kids, they won't know how to be nice people. And now they are grown up. And so I wanted to also just read a book that I know that probably many of you have seen before. Maud,
If you
I know
could
that you have
start
a
to
second
wrap
grader.
up, please.
It's called Have You Filled a Bucket Today? And it says, all day long, everyone walks around carrying an invisible bucket. You can't see it, but it's there. Everyone carries an invisible bucket, and it has one purpose: to hold your good thoughts and good feelings about yourself. Everyone needs to have their bucket filled.
Thank you.
All right, I'm just gonna do. So, but you can also dip in a bucket and take out some good feelings. And a bucket dipper is someone who says or does mean things that make others feel bad. Let's not make kids.
Thank you. Craig, call the next speaker, please.
Thank you. The next speaker is Sony Mun, M-U-N. Thank you. Sorry.
I'm going to face this way because this message is for some of the members of the CEC. So I've come to a couple of PEP meetings, and this is what I want to say. I know that some of you have similar viewpoints, but I was at a Moms for Liberty town hall meeting in January, and I'm going to repeat what I've repeated before. There are members of the CEC who have no business being around children, period. And I say this as a mom. I used to be actually, I was on CEC2, and I actually know John Keller, because I was on the CEC with John Keller, who many of you know, because he started Place New York City. So what I want to say to you, Maud Marone, is that I heard you denigrating a former student, making fun of her, and calling her, because she identified as queer, you quipped that means that she can't get a boyfriend. What kind of adult says that about a student in a public place? You have no business being around children. You also said at that meeting, Maud Marone, that there is no such thing as trans people. You know what? I'm a physician, and the AMA, the American Academy of Pediatrics, every medical society disagrees with you. And I'm not religious. I'm an atheist. But if somebody wants to believe in God and if they want to pray at home, fine. If you want to teach your children hate in your home, that's fine.
If you
But
could wrap
you
up,
don't
start
get to
wrapping up.
tell all of us how to raise our kids. And that's the hypocrisy of people like you, because it's free speech for you, but not for us. You get to raise your kids and tell us how to raise our kids. Trans kids are kids.
Thank
And
you.
also, these are like no, these are K through 8 schools. The fact that you're sexualizing K through 8th grade schools is really gross. And I think there's something wrong with that too.
Thank you. Craig, next.
The next speaker is Frankie DeScola.
Council, thank you. Good evening. I'm Frankie Descola, a DOE middle school teacher and executive board member of a local LGBT youth nonprofit here in New York City. I am also a GSA Pride Club advisor and SEL coordinator in my school community. I've taught middle school for over a decade. Tonight I come to you seeking to protect some of our most vulnerable youth. Please do not ask again to exclude entire communities. 41% of LGBT students in the last year attempted self-harm. 17 attempted actual suicide. 86% of our LGBT students say that they have faced daily harassment and bullying over their identity. Why are you not looking at me? These are children you're harming, Ms. Moran. Right? So I've identified a harmful problem: harassment and disruption in learning. What happened to a chance at a fair and unimpeded education, regardless of gender, race, ideology? Something New York State, New York City, and the federal government think is pretty important. So I've identified the problem. Let's take national statistics. 9.5% of our population is involved in the LGBT community. If you take millennial standards, that jumps to 25 to 28%. So you are asking me to exclude 250,000 students, 275,000 students could be dealing with these issues around their gender and sexuality, and you don't want to protect any of them, not one. In January of 2013, I signed my first contract with the DOE. I
can start
signed
wrapping up,
on the
please.
dotted line, agreeing to protect every student as a mandated reporter. As an educator, it is my duty and legal responsibility to protect any and all K through 12 students. As an educator
you.
who signed on the dotted line, I am required to uphold local, state, and federal regulations. Please stop asking me to harm entire communities. You are asking me to allow you to break local, federal, state,
Thank
and
you.
national law. No LGBT person or student wants to be in the spotlight. Our communities want the same thing you do: a space and opportunity for free and fair education and all activities that come with that. Please don't ask me to allow harm to so many kids when I signed on the dotted line.
It's
Don't
over 2
ask
minutes
me
now.
to do.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Emily Graytech.
Thank you. Everybody can hear it no matter what. Hi, thanks for letting us speak today. My name's Emily. My pronouns are she and her, and I am a parent of a District 2 middle schooler. And first thing I want to say is that I am thrilled to hear from our chancellor that the resolution will go nowhere. Resolution 248 to exclude trans students from sports will go nowhere, as it should. But I also want to say, and I say this as a CUNY professor of education, someone who's done education research for over 2 decades, that the mere suggestion and the mere proposal and the passing of this resolution has done damage already, and has done damage to the youth who hear and have the sense that there are adults out there who don't think they are valuable, who don't want them to have an equal education. I also want to mention one thing that I heard today from one of the council members. that was very concerning. And it may have been a throwaway line, but it wasn't a throwaway line. One of the council members was talking about violence that happened in Times Square and a perpetrator. They mentioned that this perpetrator was from an immigrant shelter. Why? Why did that matter? Why was that mentioned? It had nothing to do with anything. And all it does is try to create a connection between violence in schools and our refugee population, which is
You could wrap
inaccurate,
it up, please.
inappropriate, wrong, damaging, and harmful. And I just want to let folks know that that did not go unnoticed, and that we are watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nico Hernandez. Nico Hernandez. Sorry?
Next, Craig, call the
Okay.
next.
The next one is Harry Ann, it's the Assembly Member, Seabright's representative.
Thank you. My name's Harlan Neiditz. I'm the District Office Liaison for New York State Assembly Member Rebecca Seawright. I'm here to read a previously released statement from our office. I vehemently condemn the Community Education District Council 2 Resolution 248. It is inherently transphobic and undermines the rights and well-being of transgender and gender nonconforming students. Discrimination has no place in our state, and this ill-conceived resolution calling for a review of our policies protecting students from discrimination has no standing. Trans students are protected by the New York State Human Rights Law and the Gender Expression Non-Discrimination Act. It is deeply disturbing that our Community Education Council is inciting prejudice and an unsafe learning environment for our students. I will always stand up for the rights of our trans youth. Assemblymember Rebecca Seawright.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Ann Woods. Ann.
I just want to say for the record that I know a lot of you have moms that have been in education. And I think most of the people here, I've been in education for 30 years, teacher, dean, school leader, classroom teacher, the DOE, private school, charter schools, the gamut. So when we talk about experts and people that know what's happening, I think we should be really talking to the community more than what it seems to be coming from this board. Because honestly, in the months that I've been coming to these meetings, the things I've seen the most consistent from this board is exclusivity and exclusion, trying to exclude people and create a bubble for yourself. This is not the bubble of New York City that I want to live in. I have contemplated leaving this district and this city because of things that this board has done, and I feel unincluded. I feel unwanted. And it scares me for the people. From every board meeting, starting with how many migrants do we have? Where are the migrants living? What schools are they at? The next question is, how many parents are moving out? What parents are you talking about? We know what parents you're talking about. We're talking about your direct appeal parents that you can get that from, right? That's who you're worried about moving out and worried about the migrants moving in.
If you could start wrapping up,
Thank
please.
you. The screened middle schools, the zoned high schools that go to select letters, that go to select people with false data about how many families in D2 got their first 18 choices when people put down 4 choices. And now the
Thank you.
honors math program, you know, I appreciate the algebra for the 8th grade. That's what we need. Every
Thank you.
student taking algebra in 8th grade, and that is the ticket to advanced placement classes in high school. Everybody knows that. Last thing, I'm very sorry. Thank you. People that are paying for the Russian math school, no honors program in any NYC school is going to get that parent to stop the Russian math program. They got another motivation on their hand.
Right, next.
Yumna Maddie.
Hi, sorry, they're blocking my eyeglasses. Okay. I'm here to address a resolution that was previously passed. First, I want to say thank you to the members of our community that are trans or have trans family members. You have inspired me to speak today, and I feel empowered by your example, and I support your opposition to Resolution 248. This forum here is characterized as a community council. It's in the name community. and community is a feeling of fellowship. However, when I read resolutions like Resolution 233, which was passed last November, it's clear that I, as a woman of color, as an Arab Muslim woman, I'm not considered a member of this community by the people that voted on the resolution. I'm not welcome. I read that resolution and it struck me that it contained not a single solitary mention of Palestinians as beings that possess any kind of humanity, not even a nod in passing to the thousands of Palestinians who were killed by that point. In fact, anyone reading this resolution who knew nothing about Israel-Palestine would think that not a single Palestinian was killed by then, but so many were, and tens of thousands more since. Even here in the US, in Chicago, I don't know if you know about Wadi al-Fayoum, a 6-year-old Palestinian that was stabbed 12
You could
times.
wrap up, please.
That was stabbed in front of his mother. Unfortunately for his mother, she survived. His last words, "Don't worry, Mom, I'm okay." He died.
Thank you.
No, I'm not done. I,
No, it's 1 minute and 30 seconds.
No. So our community is also impacted by Israel-Palestine, but this resolution negated Palestinian Muslims, Palestinian Christians, Arabs, our non-Arab allies. In addition to being in mourning, we who
It's over
refuse
two-
to
it's over 2
compromise
minutes, Len.
on, no, sorry, on the humanity and equality.
Excuse me, you'll get another chance to speak at the second public speaking session. We've let people talk. We're just trying to be fair.
I can't, and you can speak to me. It's fine.
Thank you.
The final speaker is Kaushik Das.
Fight me for the mic.
Where do I look? Is my good side or? Anyway, oh, this is different. I want to thank the council members that asked all the questions tonight. I especially would like to thank some council members that backed it up with numbers and facts and brought several items to the chancellor's attention. In particular, Allison Bowen. I'd like that, and I hope that Superintendent Kelly was listening on this as well. I love the fact that you demonstrated the wait lists and how that demands still are not being met in our district, despite 250 something resolutions passed by this council, more than any other council, which, by the way, another elected came here to take another soundbite, a good election soundbite, I'm sure. Perhaps they can look at the other resolutions and comment on things like this council, other things that this council has done, such as recommending Narcan at schools so that people don't die, as one student did. Perhaps they could look at resolutions like that, or resolutions that continue to meet the unmet demands of our district students. Maybe some of these electeds, some of whom have served on education committees, can actually look at some of these education resolutions and not for election soundbites. Anyway, thank you again to this council for all the hard work that you do. People may not like 1 or 2 resolutions here and there, but let's look at the whole body of work.
If you could wrap it up, please.
Sorry?
You could wrap it up, please.
I'm good. I'll respect the time. I'll respect the time limit. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it.
I'm sorry it had to come to that, but quite frankly, if we didn't do that. Oh, is there one other speaker? Or who's the next speaker?
Over here? Yeah, the baseline. Oh, I'm assuming that's it.
Hi. Yeah, the people, kids that speak a different language, don't feel like welcome in like schools, or like they don't feel like 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 they just want to be like they just want to be like other students, like they want to be like they just don't want to be like alone, like they don't want to be like just all alone. They want to like have friends, have people to play with, and it's hard. And a lot of migrants had to move because their shelters got like they got like shut down, kind of. And it's sad to see that many people just have to move to, like just because of that and stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Um, The next item on our agenda is the report of the community district superintendent. That's Superintendent McGuire. Would you like to come up here and give your report? Yeah, why don't you come up? Well, actually, do it down. I'm trusting you with the mic.
Not turning my back on you. I do like sideways. Um, Thanks, everybody. I have just a short report for this evening, and then happy to take questions afterward. This evening, I did just want to reiterate a couple of the things that we're doing in preparation for the 24-25 school year. Again, looking forward to building our goals for the year. One thing that I think is people are aware of work that we've been doing around literacy and mathematics. One thing that I don't want to have lost is the work that we are doing in preparation of all students to be able to take the biology regents at the end of middle school in 8th grade. This is a new regents exam. It is requiring additional planning in our 8th grade. And so in addition to all middle schools having algebra as a final regent exam, all of our schools will be providing the biology regents across all of our schools. And that's going to be a benefit to all of our students, not just students who are working at or above grade level, but really going to give them an additional leg up once they get to high school. I also want to double down on the work that we are building and doing around building positive school climate and culture. At our last Community Education Council meeting in April, I talked about building restorative practices across all of our schools. I want to make sure that when people are hearing restorative practices and they're talking about tier 1 practices, that we are really talking about creating the kind of environment in our classrooms that are open and embracing of all students, that meet students where their needs are, and make sure that all voices are heard. So that's a second goal that we have, broadly speaking, in regard to our goals for 24-25. Quick update on state exams for any students who are listening out there. Our our 3 through 8 state exams in mathematics will be held on May 7th through 8th. And then I also just want to give a quick update in regard to the Wit and Wisdom launch. As people know, District 2 is a part of the Phase 2 program for NYC Reads. We worked with our elementary school leaders to talk about what aspects of Wit and Wisdom would we ask all of our elementary schools to provide. We do have a number of schools that have been piloting Wit and Wisdom all year. We have a number of schools that have exceeded the timeline for implementation. But we did want to make sure that all of our elementary schools were implementing what we call Module 0. Module 0 is a module or a unit that Wit and Wisdom begins the school year with in order to teach students about the structures and routines that are built into the curriculum, so that students have strong skills around building and communicating with each other, providing their feedback in regards to visuals that are presented in the classroom. And these are just structures that will really enable the high quality teaching that will take place in our K-5 curricula or K-5 classrooms. People have asked a little bit about supports that we have around the Wit and Wisdom curriculum. All of our schools are going to be provided or have currently, they're actually currently ordering those right now, both the print and digital materials that they will need for the entirety of a school year. Our district team has developed a structure called Literacy Leaders, in which there are experts in all of our schools that come together on a monthly basis to participate in Literacy Leaders. And then these literacy leaders are going out to help to implement the structures in our schools. All of our schools, elementary schools in 24-25, the 24-25 school year, will participate in 20 to 25 coaching days, which we have a instructional coach that will be working directly in the school with teachers in grades K through 5. And then we will continue our lab site structure that has been so powerful in our district in order to get teachers into other teachers' classrooms, give teachers the opportunities to really talk with each other about what that curriculum is like and what the implementation is like, and give school leaders a chance to implement ideas. We mentioned we have been providing more and more data around our climate and culture issues here in the district. Specifically, we have been providing more information about student suspension, as well as specific incidences. I will share, there's a request to share numbers about our level 4 and 5 incidences. And so we took a look at that from September to May for the 21-22, 22-23, and 23-24 school years. In 21-22, we had 1,257 level 4-5 incidences. In 22-23, we saw 1,346 incidences. And to date, we have 1,147. So we are continuing to look at this, continuing to build structures. People who are not familiar with level 4 or 5 incidences. These are incidences in which we may see incidences of aggression, could be verbal aggression or physical aggression. We may see a destruction of property. We may see incidences of bias that fall under level 4 and 5. There are a variety of different issues that are a variety of different infractions that fall under level 4 and 5. And so those are the numbers that we're looking at so far this year. And lastly, I'll just share that summarizing is being implemented across District 2 this summer. May 8th is the deadline for families to either accept or reject their placement in our District 2 summarizing program. And it's important that parents do that so that we can open up additional seats to students and families who are seeking that program for their kids. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Superintendent McGuire. Do any council members have any questions of Superintendent McGuire this evening?
At the last monthly meeting, Superintendent, you mentioned that there was going to be an introduction of a program called Civics for All that was going to be taught in school. And you gave us a little bit of information, but not much. I would request, and Len, if you're in agreement on this, that during your next monthly report, that you give us a little more detail on what that program is going to include at different grade levels.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. And then I have a second follow-on question that has to do with the infraction data. Thank you for starting to pull additional data for us. I believe that actual physical aggression starts at level 3. So I think it would be helpful to pull level 3, 4, and 5. And one of the things that we talked about in the resolution that we passed earlier this school year was that it's important to have that information broken out by individual school, particularly on the middle school level, as parents are trying to make decisions during the application process of where they want to send their children. And the information is on my schools, but it's only subjected information based on surveys filled out by the school community, and the range of children who feel safe in the schools varies widely between schools. And just in our zone schools, it ranges from about 56% at one school to 91% at another. And so I think understanding that breakdown of those numbers by school is very helpful, because otherwise people are relying on things that are not very helpful, like the Post or Instagram or something else that may be actually fanning the flames of a situation that is isolated or perhaps doesn't represent the overall climate at that school. And so I think it's very helpful if you can work to provide us that information.
Thank you.
Questions? Okay, thank you, Superintendent McGuire. The next item on the agenda is the report of the president. I'm going to be very brief tonight. I do want to say that we don't always agree on things. I mean, putting it lightly, that the members, it's very, we have strong differences on a lot of different things as council members. But I do want to reiterate to those of you that are out there, we've seen, we've seen how passionate people can be about different issues, regardless of what the issue is and regardless of what side you might be, to the extent that that issue that you feel passionate has a side or it's one side versus another. But I do want to just take a moment to remind everyone out there that no matter how passionate you are, we are all volunteers and we are trying to do our best and we are trying to represent interests that we have that may not always be in agreement with positions that you have. And I understand that, and we hear you. I certainly hear you. And as a council, there are things that we do agree upon. So for example, the last speaker, the boy that was here, we passed a resolution condemning the taking people out of shelters after 60 days and moving students. There are a lot of things that we do agree on. And I would appreciate, I think it would really make a lot of sense for the community also to look and see what we have passed as a whole, as one of the speakers mentioned, because it's a continuous and on various different issues. And I wouldn't judge this council by one particular resolution or a few resolutions. It's important that you understand that as passionate, and I get it, and I know the passion that's out there. But we are all volunteers, and it's okay to disagree, and that's fine. And we want to hear what you have to say. But please just try to do it in a respectful manner. If when we're screaming names or cursing at people, it really just it's not a good look. So I will make myself available as I did last time at our last meeting for anybody who wants to speak on any issue, whether it's to Resolution 248. I'm happy to speak with anybody face to face right after this meeting, right after our business meeting. So, and I can always be reached via email. So I'm available. And I think the same goes for many members of this council who feel the same way. We are your representatives. We might not always agree or advocate for position. Our positions might also sometimes be complete polar opposite of what you may be thinking. But it doesn't mean that we don't want to try to listen, that we're open-minded, and we want to, and I think that you really should focus on the fact that we are trying to do and pass resolutions that really are that really do represent various interests in our community. And I understand how people can disagree with that, and I get it. But we're again, we're volunteers and we're doing our best as we see it. So the next item on the so the next item on the agenda is the report of committees. Does anyone have any committee reports that they would like to make? Okay. Next item on the agenda is discussion of resolutions. Would anyone like to open this for a discussion of resolution number 252 entitled Resolution Calling for a District 2 Math Path Pilot Program for 2024 to 2025? Okay.
So resolution 252, this is another resolution that shows us that this is not a community education council. This is a community screening council. That's what has been talked about here over and over, is how do we exclude some students? It's very clear in the therefore be it resolved, number 2. They're asking for high school superintendents to design testing and grouping methods to allow students in grades 4 to 8 who are capable of and interested in math instruction at an accelerated pace to test into advanced instruction at every level. This is not acceleration for all. This is not a better math program for all. It's like, how do we take some students out? Identify them through testing, 4th grade, so they're going to be tested when they're like in 3rd grade, I guess. But I mean, we don't need more exclusivity. We don't need more sorting and herding of students into little boxes. And, if that's what you think the families in District 2 want, then I don't think you're really listening to that many families in District 2.
Um, I would imagine everybody up on the stage is probably in favor of providing students with a math curriculum that meets their needs. I would assume so. I don't understand how this resolution does that. And I guess I have a couple of specific questions. Do you have any references for data showing the equity gap that you reference in your whereas one, number 5? Do you have any references for data to show how many students are testing out of 9th and 10th grade math classes? I'm also curious if there's been any thought to how this would get implemented next year along with the literacy programming that schools are currently working so hard to implement. Are there any answers to any of those questions?
We'll keep this one here.
I have some data on test scores that I'd be happy to share because I think they're illustrative of the situation. When you look at what percentage of 6th graders are scoring 4s on their state math tests back in 2019 in District 2 versus the most recent test scores from 2023. We have about 50% of kids in 6th grade D2 overall scoring in a 4 or above on the state math test. And post-pandemic, we are looking at closer to about 34% of kids, which is a significant drop. And we've done a control here by looking at a school like Nest and what's happened to their test scores so that we can't just blame this on the pandemic when we look at test scores dropping. And the percentage of 6th graders scoring a 4 on the state math test has actually gone up in that time period from the low 80s to over 90%. And you don't see that shift of District 2 6th graders going up anywhere else. So I just like you to reference that the goal of this is to improve test scores across the board and include outcomes for our students.
Can members of the audience please keep it down, please? Do any other council members want to speak on this particular resolution? Okay. The next item on our next item on our agenda is the second public speaker session. Now, can I just ask how many people we have signed up?
Thank you, sir. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7. This is like, cross out 7.
Okay. We have 7 people signed up for the second public speaking session. I would prefer not to have to hold the mic. If we can all agree, I mean, please, I mean, I know there's people, again, that have a history or at least have demonstrated for the last couple meetings that you want to go a little over the time, which we've been flexible. I'm willing to extend the time to 2 minutes for the second public speaking session since we only have 7 people signed up. But please, we're going to ask that the mic be cut off. I don't want to have to fight with members of the audience. So we are showing you the respect that I would please appreciate if you could show us as well. So I'm not going to hold the mic. We're going to turn it over to you, but please respect the time. Thank you.
Okay, the first person is Ms. Garcia.
Thank you. All right. I wish I had a thing. I really appreciate as a kindergarten teacher what you were saying about respecting everybody and listening to everyone's voice. And I will say that my kindergartners and I had a meeting the other day where we talked about why we might sit in a circle when we're having a community meeting. And they said it's so you can see everyone's face. It's to show people that you care about them. It's to show people that you respect what they're saying. And a thing that saddens me tonight is that there are members of this council who aren't looking, I mean, they're not looking at me. Allison and I went to college together and she's not even looking at me. Ma's not looking at me. And there was a child up here and I saw people not looking at that child. And I absolutely think that a civil discourse is really important. And I respect that you want to be treated with respect. And it's so hard for adults to tell kids that they should treat people with respect when they don't show kids that. And as a teacher, one of the things that I do is I treat my kids with respect. And I talk to them and I listen to them, even when they don't agree with me, because they don't always, because they're 5. And that's okay. But when you say it's important that we all listen to people with respect, and then people are not acting as though they respect people, then it makes it very hard for people to take you seriously and to know that you're coming with a good faith and centering children. Because I know that everyone here cares about children. And when people refuse to act in ways that they ask children to act and that they ask other adults to act, then it makes it hard to believe in their good faith. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Daniels? Thank you. The next speaker is Ms. Moon.
Hi, I came here because of a specific reason or specific resolution, as you probably recognize, but in hearing more, and as I mentioned, I used to be on the CEC. I used to be on the CEC. I'm really disturbed that everything I've heard, as other people have stated, is about helping the kids who already are doing well. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I admit it, my son goes to Stuyvesant. I was in a gifted and talented program. I went to a gifted and talented public boarding school. However, I also recognize that these kids who already have a lot of resources and are doing well are probably going to do okay. I know that my son is going to be okay because he comes from a family where he's lucky enough. But I haven't heard a single thing about what you're doing for the kids who are struggling. If we're going to, not a single thing. And all of you guys have talked about how our kids are struggling, but you haven't said a single word about the kids who are struggling. I'm actually shocked that somebody up here talked about how Nest has such high scores and we looked at the other schools and they don't have high scores. So what we're going to do is do an accelerated program. That doesn't make any sense. Like that's like basic common sense. Of course, we should help the kids who are doing well so that they are not bored. Because I went through that too. But please, if we're going to judge a society by just the top ranking students, that's a failing society. We should be talking about the kids who actually don't have the resources, whose parents can't move to Westchester if they don't go and get into the private or public school that they want or pay for private school. I want those parents to stay too, but we should be talking about the kids who really need help too.
Conclude your remarks, please. Thank you. Thank you. Lupe Hernandez.
Good evening. My name is Lupe Hernandez. I'm a D2 parent, and I'm here speaking in my own personal capacity as a New York City public school parent. We've heard a lot tonight about what this council has claimed to do for our children in District 2, and I could tell you as a former District 2 member that a majority of those resolutions that they spent on the 2 years that I served were for the same population, very small population of students that you hear they are advocating for this evening. And unfortunately, it is not those students that are in greatest need of support. We heard some data shared that is trying to support this resolution that is false. First, let's start with NEST programming, serving our students with disabilities and the additional supports that come into that classroom. And it's a much smaller class size than the classrooms that they're comparing it to. Not to mention that the tests that they're referring to pre-pandemic are completely different than the tests that were actually, that they're comparing them to post-pandemic. So how do you compare two different tests? State Commissioner has actually stated this in several, in response to several of this data being used in this way, that there's no comparing the data and they're administered differently. So I think I would love for this council to actually start serving the most marginalized students in the district and help them, prop them up so that they can even be included in the same classrooms as some of these gifted and talented children, because all of our children are gifted with many, many talents. And the Brilliant NYC program was just that. It met every child where they were at instead of hoarding resources and
Thank you. If you conclude your
keeping with the
remarks.
status quo. Because the disenrollment in this district has come from rent being too high and shelters closing.
Thank you.
Let's look at that data and be accurate, but we really should be
Thank you, Ms.
advocating
Hernandez.
for our students with disabilities, our English language learners, and our students in temporary housing.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez.
Thank you.
Mia Anderson. Sorry, Mia Anderson.
Hey, so I was reading over 252, and as everyone else said, you guys are focusing on gifted kids. Have you looked at how many kids are gifted? Like, why are we spending so much of our time on this? What's wrong with algebra for all? I took algebra in 8th grade with all my peers. I took the Regents. I'm fine. Everyone's fine. No one has regrets that they weren't in a gifted classroom, that they weren't with gifted kids. Kids have regrets because they spent all their time at school. They didn't get into colleges they wanted to. They didn't have time to hang out with their friends. No one's mad that they were not in a gifted program in elementary school. Literally no one. Have you spoken to anyone that has graduated? Nobody.
Thank you. The next speaker is Bahar Akyurthu. I apologize if I've gotten that off.
Hi, good evening. So I'm a DOE educator, high school level, not in your district, but I'm coming here as to speak to you as one of the vanishingly few trans women who are educators in the Department of Education. So have a little bit of a, not a kid, but my own perspective. So seems like you guys really, really want us to be nice to you. So I actually really want to start with some encouraging things. And again, coming from a trans person, when I read Resolution 248, and I was looking at the whereas clauses, I'm like, honestly, so many of the points you brought up are great about girls in sports. 100%. I have two nieces, incredibly athletic. You should see my niece, who's a freshman in high school now. She's on like 4 different teams. Absolutely wonderful. It's so important. And it's no one who looks at girls' sports in any school is ever going to argue that they get parity, right? Absolutely no parity. The facilities aren't the same. Access to practice time isn't the same. And it's so crucial to everyone's development. And you all brought up all those wonderful points. And not a single one of those points had to do with trans people. They had to do with access to funding. They had to access to just administrators taking the needs of girls' sports seriously enough to actually give adequate practice time and adequate access to facilities, right? None of that has to do with trans kids. To be honest, you don't really need a study. Like we implemented all of the current regulations back in what, like 2014? If something happened, anything, the New York Post would be screaming about it. I mean, hell, my principal, who I worked for, he sent some of our teachers on a little trip for professional development, and they plastered him in a full like centerfold in the New York Post. Are you telling me that if one single trans girl in this entire city of, again, the Department of Education has 1 million students in it, if there was one issue, I see you moving from the microphone, so let me wrap up. I want to speak from a personal perspective now. Again, I'm coming here because I'm not in your district, but your resolution, the scope of your resolution is not your district. The scope of your resolution is attacking and questioning DOE regulations. This affects me, even though I'm not in your district. Like, it is hard being trans. It is really hard being trans in a school. Like, you guys don't have space for us. You don't have space for even me as an adult. So I'm coming here person to person. Hear me, please.
Thank you. The next speaker is Kaushik Das. Yeah, he's.
Hello.
Oh, can we, please? I mean, we were doing so well. We were actually making progress. Okay, please. I'm happy to talk to you. We get along. Please, Kush, go ahead.
So in any case, I'd like to point out two people spoke earlier today that pointed themselves out as former council members. For those who don't know, I am one as well. A couple of things that were mentioned. Kids that are doing okay will continue to do okay. That's just the point, though, isn't it? I don't want okay. We should not aspire for okay. We should never aspire for okay. We should aspire for exceptional, which is what this district used to be several years ago before enrollment dropped off tremendously. We can discuss that. Maybe it's because of rents. That is possible. But there's also data that supports there's a higher and higher number of students every year applying to independent schools. That data exists. It was presented to us several times by the district, I forget the name of the group, but by one of the district offices that have come to report to us. That's happened. Beyond that, there's 2 members in this council that are represented by Mark Levine, our borough president, a person who I disagree with intensely. However, he spoke at CCHS very recently, and I agreed with him on one point. He pointed to all the different technology companies that are in New York City that are recruiting talent, and the majority of the talent comes from outside New York City. It comes from outside New York City and outside this country, but also even in the tri-state area. We're so wrapped up in the equity of what happens in this little microcosm, we fail to realize that we are falling behind on all fronts versus Connecticut, versus New Jersey, versus China, versus Russia. We talked about Russian math. we don't talk about New York math. We talk about Russian math, Turkish math, Singapore math, not New York math. So anytime that anyone wants to submit a proposal to up our standards
conclude
in
your remarks.
mathematics, we should be for it. We are falling behind on several fronts. Your borough president thinks so, and I discussed this with him after the fact. Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes the second public session.
And I want to thank the members of the public for really following the rules. I appreciate that. The next item on the agenda is the vote on resolutions, which we have one resolution tonight. I would like to make a motion to approve resolution number 252 entitled Resolution Calling for a District 2 Math Path Pilot Program for 2024 to 2025. Does anyone second that motion?
Daniela.
We recognize Daniela as having seconded. I'm going to ask for a roll call vote now on that, on that motion.
Got it. Thank you. Pre-Bumper, aye. Pre-Bumper, aye, yes. Allison Bowen. Allison Bowen, yes. Daniela Egorov. Daniela Egorov, yes. Gavin Healy. Gavin Healy, no. Charles Love. Charles Love, yes. Maud Maron. Maud Maron, yes. Sonal Patel. Sonal Patel, no. Jessica Savage. Jessica Savage, no. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg, no. Sabina Sardice is not here. Leonard Silverman. Leonard Silverman, yes. Craig Slutskin, yes. And it passes 7-4 to 0.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Council members should have last month's minute in your packet. Do we have the minutes in the packet?
Should be, but
Okay, my packet doesn't. Oh, thank you very much. Does anyone like to make any proposed edits, changes, or have a discussion on the minutes as contained in our packet from April 17th of 2020? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes. Should call, oh, wait. Bree, did you? Oh, no, we're going to call roll call.
Pre-Bumper, aye. Pre-Bumper, aye, yes. Allison Bowen. Allison Bowen, yes. Daniela Egorov. Daniela Egorov, yes. Gavin Healy. Gavin Healy, yes. Charles Love. Charles Love, yes. Maud Maron. Maud Maron, yes. Sonal Patel. Sonal Patel, yes. Jessica Savage. Jessica Savage, yes. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg. Sorry, was that a yes? Okay, thank you. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg, yes. Sabina Saranice is not here. Leonard Silverman. Leonard Silverman, yes. Craig Slutskin is a yes. It passes 11-0 to 0.
Next item on the agenda is new business. Do any council members have new business they'd wish to raise? Somebody say yes? New business. Did anyone? Okay. Moving on, next item on our agenda is the adjournment. I make a motion to adjourn our May 2024 calendar meeting. All in favor? All in favor? Yes. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Meeting adjourned. And I thought I heard off the record, I thought I heard someone out there second the motion. Can't do that. Okay. Are we okay just going straight into our May working business meeting? Okay. I'd ask our recording secretary to call the meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. Can you do the roll call, please?
Thank you. And thank you to the PEP chair for staying so late. Thank you, Chair Faulkner. Appreciate it. It's always good to see you. Pre-Bumper, aye. Present. Pre-Bumper, aye, present. Allison Bowen. Allison Bowen, present. Daniela Egorov. Daniela Egorov, present. Gavin Healy. Gavin Healy, present. Charles Love. Charles Love, present. Maud Maron. Maud Maron, present. Sonal Patel. Sonal Patel, present. Jessica Savage. Jessica Savage, present. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg. Sarah Schechter Ehrenberg, present. Sabina Saranice is out, and I believe she's excused. We will mark that as such. Leonard Silverman. Leonard Silverman, present. Craig Slutskin is present. We have 11 members present, which meets the quorum requirements.
The next item on the first, by the way, I do want to thank the technical support people who have decided to remain. We do appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Yep. Yes, let's hear it. Look, can we appreciate you guys staying. I know you didn't expect to be here that long. We're going to get you out of here in a few minutes, I promise. But you each get a chocolate chip cookie for staying. So that's what we have for you guys. So the next item on the agenda is an update from the superintendent on the process to appoint a student appointee to CEC2 and next year's appointee. I actually have an update I can present on this. We did get a applicant. Unfortunately, this term, since she's a junior, she is ineligible, but FACE has advised her to reapply, so she can reapply this summer. And at least we have one applicant for the position. So we're looking forward to getting a brave soul. We're looking forward to getting at least one student representative. For those of you who are out there online for next year, the application process, what we can open it now, is for a person who's going to be a senior who lives in District 2, who has some sort of a leadership role either in the student government or a club. So if that fits the bill, or you feel that you'd like to be a member of the CEC as a student member, please let us know. There are actually going to be 2 positions available. So they've increased that to 2 student positions. So next item is the treasurer's report. Prue, do we have money?
Yes, our budget is actually has not been touched. Yes, our budget has not been touched, so we do need anyone who needs to submit reimbursements, please do, because it's just as is. No one has submitted it to me. That's it. Thank you.
I promise you I will submit those reimbursements, those expenses sooner rather than later. Next item on the agenda, school liaison updates. Any updates from anyone, school liaison updates? Anyone? Okay. Next item, further committee updates. Anyone further committee updates? Number 6, discussion of CEC social media. This was a topic that we added to the agenda. Who wants to start talking? We can either put it to next meeting or we can discuss it now.
I just want to be assured that the social media is used appropriately. I think that sorry, oh, that's not loud. Oh, sorry. Oh, no, sorry. I thought with the mic it was enough. I just want to make sure that we're using it appropriately. There was access or a post made on Facebook? Using the Facebook account that editorialized and attacked people discussing a resolution. There was a post on Twitter that discussed news stories about our CEC. I think considering the, pardon my terminology, volatile nature of discussions that can occur here, I think that, and Craig has said it before, the use of our social media to disseminate basic information that is just public record, when our meetings are, where they are, what are resolutions. I think that's a safer bet, just because if you think that it's okay the way it's been used already, think about what would happen if I had access to your social media. So that would be my request, is that it's used just to inform people of things that are of public record and to inform them how to get to our meetings and participate. Thanks.
On that note, I'll let Craig talk about this also. We looked in to see who actually had access. I didn't have access. And then when I say specific, we're talking about Facebook. So yeah, so I'll let.
That's fine. So, yeah, so a couple of things. Well, I guess one thing on Facebook. So I didn't realize that certain former council members did still have access. I apologize. I thought it was cleared up before I got there. It is now cleaned up. It's Len and. Okay.
It's me, Craig, and I think there might still be someone with access, which we have to look into.
Okay. But it's going to be just me, just Len and me. And as you know, I've only been.
No,
I
think he thought he did, but I can't remove that person because when I tried to remove that person, it said that I need a password or something to actually remove that person. Whereas yeah, I'm not sure how it's gonna, yeah, well, it's, yeah.
Present me, I need to know.
Yeah, it's Chen Kwok. Yeah.
Yeah.
It, I just want to make this clear because we tried to do an investigation because there was a posting. So we actually were pretty involved in this. We tried to look through logs. There are logs, but we couldn't find any evidence of who made a post, who made that post that you're referring to. Nothing. And we looked. Okay, can we please just have the council members have a discussion? So.
And it wasn't Chris.
No, this was, no, it doesn't work that way. What happened was when Craig looked initially, there were a number of people. So it could have been one from like four or five different people. Yeah,
That third person can be removed and, you know, I'm no expert. I'm sure we can access people if there's no one on this committee who, or the council who is a social media expert. I'm sure there are people in the world we can ask. Worst case, you shut down that account and you make a new one. I mean, I don't think this is hard just to make it secure and safe and appropriate. I do not want that stuff connected to my name. There's things that are in public records not appropriate. So please, if you can't remove that person in the very near future, I would really recommend that you shut it down and rebuild from scratch. It's not like we have a follower list. We're not influencers. We're not losing anything. Just fix it, please.
So sorry, I got it. So I thought it was removed. I honestly did think it was removed when I removed everybody off. So I did. I will look into it tomorrow. I will make it my priority tomorrow to deal with this. I don't know what password, it's not, Facebook it's not a password page. So it's not, but I will work on it. I will spend tomorrow working on it to do that, to make sure it's just me and Len for now, and until otherwise. It's fine.
I just want to say we also sent an email. I mean, you sent an email to Facebook to try to get.
Yeah, so I did send an email to Facebook that the day this happened, asking if they could trace it. I have not heard back. I don't know if Facebook responds to these things, but I sent the email and I can show you what I wrote if you're that
Yeah,
interested.
because any person who is using the CEC to social media and is not a CEC authorized member, that's a crime, right? And the Office of Special Investigations is already investigating, so you guys should probably keep that in mind. The other thing is, even for those council members who are authorized, you know, Len, you said in our email correspondence that you thought a certain amount of editorializing was okay. And I could not disagree with you more that there is not a single council member on this council who for the entire council should editorialize anything on any of our social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, I don't care what it is. So there's two issues. As a council, we need to determine who is authorized to post on behalf of this council. And right now, Maud and Chen and anybody else, hundreds of other people, et cetera, have access to put whatever they want to is not okay. And then even those council members who we ultimately decide are authorized to post, they don't editorialize, they post information. It's not that complicated.
Literally, it's time to go home and this is all really silly, but I just like to keep the hypocrisy count going. When people who are hanging a flag that is making a statement on the CEC table are saying that nobody on this council should be able to editorialize, when they are editorializing about a position on which this council voted 8-3 on an issue which has raised social issues around, you know, conflicted issues on this council. So should we editorialize on issues or should we present information in a factual, clear way? I agree, we should present information in a factual, clear way, but why don't you hold yourself to the standards that you're demanding so explicitly from other council members?
I'm gonna speak up. It's really rich to hear Councilmember Marin talk about hypocrisy. But you know what? If you want to hang a flag, you can hang whatever the hell flag you want. You know, I don't know what your flag is, but this is the flag I want to hang, and I'm gonna hang it. So should I read the message that was posted on Facebook from this official account? This is the official Community Education Council District 2 account. Posted this message in response to a video of the testimony of someone who spoke at our meeting. It says, true compassion means not letting children self-diagnose their own medical condition. It means letting effeminate boys grow up and find out that they are just gay and having their male genitals intact. It means addressing underlying mental health issues and autism that radical gender medical practitioners ignore that still lead to suicide after gender affirming care. It means not engaging in human experimentation on children that's banned by the Nuremberg Code with unproven sterilizing, mutilating, and permanent hormonal and medical castration treatment and surgery. True compassion means teaching and supporting kids to love themselves as they are and letting them grow up unharmed. This was posted on our official CEC2 Twitter.
Actually,
We know,
I
so
would
I'm
disagree
not
with
finished, Len. I have the mic. So I would ask you to respect the processes here as well. And so I've referred this matter to the Office of the Special Investigator because I don't think, I mean, I appreciate that you're going through some process, but I think that we need someone else to look at it. So I hope that you'll cooperate with that investigation process. If any of you in the audience want to look into this as well, the DOE has an Office of Special Investigations, which does investigate corruption and wrongdoing among Department of Education personnel and including CECs. So you can also follow up and file your own complaint if you wish. But this is not the kind of thing that our CEC should be posting at all. And we know who the people with access are. We know that, you know, Craig, Daniela, Maud, Marin, Chen Kwok, and Ben Morden had access at one point. So it's one of you five, unless I don't know, you left your computer and someone else posted about the Nuremberg Code. So, you know, maybe we should look into this a little bit more, and maybe we need an outside investigator to look into this more. And I think Chancellor Banks needs to look into this a little bit more because this is shameful. It's disgraceful. And I can't believe we're up here like hemming and hawing about it. This needs to be stopped. And what Sarah outlined is a very, very simple, straightforward policy of no editorializing. And I think that's what we need.
I just wanted to follow that up by saying one of the first things that I tried to do was to see if there was actually any evidence other than one person posting a photograph of the post, because that's what we had. And there was no evidence that we could find, certainly that I was able to find. I don't know if you looked as well, but I couldn't find any evidence that that was actually posted on that account. That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing I just want to add is that the way Facebook works is that if you have privileges or access to an account, you switch back and forth between that account. So while I hear you are saying that this was intentionally posted, I don't know if that is in fact the case. It's quite possible that someone just didn't switch back from one from their original profile to another profile.
Bottom line
But
is
I
it
don't have
was
enough-
posted.
Can I
The bottom
finish?
line,
You know,
it
Gavin
doesn't
made an
matter.
issue of it, and he said I needed to respect the process, and I accepted that. And now you are cutting me off when I am talking, which I don't appreciate. So I have the mic.
All right, take it down. Take it down.
So I mean, really,
Take it down.
honestly. Okay, so my point that I'm trying to make before I'm interrupted is that before you say certain things and make certain statements, we've tried to investigate this. We looked into it. I didn't find any evidence other than a photograph that was actually posted. If you have your own photograph that was actually posted, that's fine. So I get what you're saying, and I actually do agree with Maud on this position that that is editorializing as well. But that's a whole other issue. We can deal with it at another point in time. Now, Sonal, I turn it over to you.
I wasn't interrupting you. I was responding to what you said. And that little outburst against me in particular, Len, was completely inappropriate. The fact is, whether you think it was posted from somebody who forgot to switch accounts or you don't have proof that it was posted, people saw it. That's all that matters. It happened. I mean, it happened, period. We're not up here wasting people's time at 9:15 at night arguing over the fact of whether it happened or not. It happened. And what we were trying to do is to set some limits and boundaries and protocol so that something like that does not happen again. We've got one council member storming off, another one talking about editorializing via flag. This is an issue. Instead of getting defensive, we as a council just need to figure this shit out. That's it.
And we have described to you the process that we have followed. Yeah. Okay. Before we do that, I'm in the middle of speaking. I will state this. We'll be out of here in a minute. I do want to say, we just discussed with you the process that we followed to try to determine who made a post, to determine if a post was made and who potentially could have posted that. We've expressed what that was, and I don't know what more you want. I'm happy to, if you want to file the thing with the Department of Investigation, be my guest. We're cooperating 100%. But again, I agree with you. What we've done is we've tried to limit future access to prevent any possibility of something happening in the future. That's all I can tell you. But I don't like necessarily blanket statements when we look through, or I certainly looked through what logs that show you what was posted and couldn't find any evidence of anything actually being posted. So I'm not necessarily calling people liars or saying, but I'm just in looking at the logs and looking at what it said was done, and there was no evidence that that thing was out there.
Can I just confirm then that this third person who has access, we can't take them off. If you cannot take them off, today is Thursday, tomorrow's, right? Right? I don't even know anymore. Okay. When will this be resolved? If you cannot take them off by Monday, can we have a new account? Is this a reasonable, like, can we set a timeline? It doesn't have to be Monday. I would just want to know we have a good timeline so that we are represented appropriately. I think we all agree we want that done.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I mean,
always gotta fight
Craig will
Facebook,
look into it. I don't know for a fact that if we might, because a lot of this works to an email address. So I don't know if that means that we would lose our email address access. So
Anyway, bottom line is that it was done, and the question I think from the people would like to know whose side is, does this council condemn that statement?
Again, I can't find any proof that that statement was made. If it was made, I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to engage with you. You know, this council needs to speak, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Motion to adjourn. All in favor? We have a majority? Motion to adjourn. Do we have a majority? Okay.
No. We have just.
Meeting's adjourned now. Happy to talk to you outside of the process.